Okay, so I've been playing and cutting out some of the patterned papers, it's starting with the book here on the inside front cover and the front of the page 1. So I'm going to go over it with you. My thought was I want the book to start with the tornado in Kansas where Dorothy and Toto are swept away in the house and it lands on the Wicked Witch of the East. So that's why I chose these papers. Then I pulled in the stripe of the poppies. So let me go over this page here with you. Nothing is glued down. I just had to, do some thinking, creative thinking of what I wanted to do. So I started this one with the, and I'm going to, while I talk, go ahead and pull this up and start gluing it down. The bottom pocket, I used the back side of the poppies and stripes. So I just used the stripe. And this piece is, I cut it 7 3/4 wide by 3 3/4 tall. And that is just to cover the black pocket that I added on. So I didn't feel like it needed a double mat of anything. So we're just going to lay that right here. I'm using a 1/4 inch less in my measurements because I wanted more of a border to show. So that gives you about a 1/16 inch margin. This one I think I had it a little short here on one side, but it's going to be okay. Now I know that I will come back through and decorate, adding, cut aparts and different things here for that. So this back piece back here, it is going to be matted. You don't need to pattern the whole thing. So the background is a piece of black cardstock that is 8 inches wide by 6 1/4 tall, and the stripe is 7 3/4 wide by 6 inches tall. So I'm going to glue that down. Oh, I forgot to do some inking. So if you're going to ink, make sure you do that now. I didn't on the other one. I think it'll be okay. Anyway, I'm going to glue this down. The ink doesn't really show up that much on this one anyway, so it's okay. So like I said, I want the stripe to show on this inside cover here on this piece. And then for contrast, I use a piece of it with the poppies on it. So I'm going to line this up. Okay, wipe that glue off. Okay, so this one's going to slide down into that pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on. So I have to kind of like finagle it down in there, but it does fit just exactly. There we go, just kind of wiggle it in with a bit of the craft still showing up at the top and the side. So burnish that in, and it kind of lines up pretty well with the stripe that's already down. So I like that. Okay, now this one here, this was the pocket, the slant pocket, and I did already cut this. What I did is I laid my remaining piece of this paper underneath and positioned it where I wanted it and cut, drew me a line, and then cut it out. So I'm sorry that I didn't show you that, but it works out real well just using the existing pocket as a mat. I am going to ink some of this. I don't have to do the bottom because that's hidden. Okay. And we're going to glue this down. This kind of got a funny angle. So what I did is for this piece, the angle, I cut it to 4 1/2 wide to 5 tall. And then I just laid it back here like this and took a pencil and got my cutting line so that it turned out to fit the right shape. So You could probably measure over the distance and make a tick mark. But I found just laying it on there also worked really well for me. Okay, so that's on there. So that is the inside of the front cover. These pieces I'm going to do later after everything else is cut. So now we're going to move on to this piece here. And I made myself a sticky note. We are going to need a magnet. So I'm going to grab a magnet set. I'm using the small. I think that will be plenty on that. So what I did is I took a sheet of the tornado in the house, and I'm using some of the green here. Put this up. So I use a full sheet, another sheet of this. So let's do these in here first. I'm going to ink them off camera real quick, and then I'll be back to show you gluing them down. Okay, so I have inked these pieces. I am using the archival ink in the coffee color. Okay, so for, oh, I didn't get this one done. Got to ink it a little bit. It doesn't show up as much as the other, but that's okay. You want to ink it some anyhow. And then I'll give you the measurements of it. So I forgot to do my tornado. So we do want to ink those a little bit on the edges. Okay, now then, so for the tornado here, use one sheet of this pattern. I cut 5 3/4 by 9 3/4 for this section right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. And I'm using the side with the houses and the shoes with this one here, which kind of to me shows the tornado picking it all up and dropping it down on that wicked witch. So this is the flap that I added on. Okay, burnish that down. Okay, this, oh yes, I need to put a magnet there. Let's pick that up really quick. And I need to do that. I think I'm going to put it right about here. So I'm just going to pick it up real quick. I'll have to put more glue on it. I want that magnet right in there. Grab some tape. Had me a sticky note and still I forgot my magnet. Tape it down. Okay, so now I'll put my glue back on. Luckily, I thought of it before I actually let it completely dry. Okay. Now we smoothed it back down. We've got a magnet under there. Match that. Okay, so this other little magnet I'm going to drop on there like that. So that's where that one connects, and it's going to connect to this one here. So I'm just going to leave it laying there for right now. So this one is going to be the side that's just the tornado clouds, like what she saw when it first started happening. This one is 4 3/4 wide by 5 3/4 tall, and it's going to fit right there on the front short flap. Okay, so I'm putting the glue on the side with the house. Right, like that. like the kind of black and white look of it because it's dark and foreboding, like what it looks like when a tornado storm is coming, which we do have here in Texas from time to time. I've never, well, I actually have been in one when I was a kid. It took my dad's hay and equipment barn and left the house that we were in. Luckily, it just got real noisy, like they say, sounding like a train and really, really dark. So I have been in one after all. So for the inside, you cut another piece. We're going to cut the stripe. And this one is the same, 4 3/4 wide by 5 3/4 tall. And I think I did ink this one. I'm just going to hit it a couple of times to make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that one down because I do not need the magnet. It's going to be actually on the piece that sticks over. Like this. Oh, I was going to do the, that's okay. I was going to do the poppies. I ended up gluing it on the wrong side. But I think that looks fine that way. So I may reverse this over here as well. Yeah, I'll do it that way. Okay, so this one on the inside, I've already inked it. And I did ink this one. I'm going to hit it a little more because I'm flipping it over. Change of plans because I goofed, so to speak. So this one here, the main piece in here, I did want it on black because this was craft, but I wanted it on black. So I cut a piece of black cardstock that's 7 3/4 by 10 because I want it to fit almost the length of the page to match where I attached these black flaps. And then this piece here, the poppies on stripe, is 7 1/2 wide by 9 3/4 tall. So I'm going to glue this one down. Flip this over. I noticed I was on a different microphone, so hopefully my voice has been clear enough for you. Okay, let's burnish this one. I love those poppies. They're so pretty. Now, I know they come into the story a little bit later than at the very first, but I wanted that pop of color. So that's why I added it in here. I do think it's really pretty, and the stripe and everything. So that's why I used them. Of course, you can look at the papers and choose what you like better. But this one's going to go right in here. Perfect fit in between that page. So put my glue on this one. Okay, let's burnish it. So there's that front flap. This side, like I said, I reversed it. So this piece here is the same size as this one, which is a 5 3/4 by 9 3/4. So that's going to fit right there. So that gives us a lot of places for photos, that's for sure. And though I wanted it to be poppies all the way across, it may be that this kind of helps breaks it up and is not as busy for some photos. So it's going to work out just fine. And this flap is black, so we didn't have to add that extra, but there it is. Okay, so if you're following along as I'm making this, at this point, I do not have this, but you would not have this cut until you cut some green for some other areas because you want to use a scrap. So don't cut yours yet. Just keep that in mind that you're going to add a magnet right there. Okay, so that is our page inside back cover and our page 1. These we will also do later as we have our scraps after we've done a couple of other pages in here. So let's go ahead and move on to page 2 and 3. Okay, so I have to re-record what I've done here for page 2 and 3. I recorded it. While it was recording, electricity went off, and by the time I got it back on, that part of the video was corrupted, or that little bit of the file. So I'm going to go over this with you. I do apologize for that, but it's pretty simple. I had already showed you how to make these pockets here, these angle pockets. Now, I have put a disclaimer on the front where we make these pockets to not add them to your page until you've added your patterned paper here. Okay? Because I had to take a little tool and lift mine up so I could get my paper underneath. So you don't want to put your pockets on until the pattern base is on. So first thing you need to do is cut your base papers, which is this is for the flaps of page 2 and page 3 is Dorothy on the Yellow Brick Road. So you want to cut 2 that are 7 3/4 wide by 9 3/4 tall, and ink the edges and then glue them down onto the 2 flaps right there. Okay, so those 2 flaps, got those on. Then you can take your pockets and add them on, gluing here on the side and the bottom, top and the side, top, bottom, and side. So they're just flat. They go down right on top of that, and that leaves them open like this. Okay, so they are open for the mat. Now then, for this, I had demonstrated how to cut it. Let me see if I can. Okay, I'll piece it back together. So you cut 4 pieces that are 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Then I laid it down the square onto the pocket, leaving allowance for the black border to show. I put a tick mark here and a tick mark here, laid that in my trimmer, and cut from this tick mark to that one to get the shape on each one. Very important to cut your square, lay it on your pocket, and make sure that you've got your direction going correctly. So I apologize that this is not shown. Then go ahead and glue your pattern paper on. I did ink all of them, so we have that. Now, originally I was going to use the blue photo mat, but I decided there was not enough blue in here to really bring that out. So I switched to the green. Take a sheet of your green, cut it in half at 6. It's a 12 by 12. So you have 2 pieces that are 6 by 12. Cut them down to 8. So we have 6 by 8. And then cut 2 pieces of black cardstock that are 6 1/4 by 8 1/4 and mat them down and make sure you round all 4 corners. And this becomes your photo mats inside these pockets. You do have to kind of like tip it down a little bit to get it in, but they do fit and they won't fall out. There we go, like that. So I use the green. I like that a whole lot better. So I'm going to put the blue on the inside. So I'm going to go over that with you. So this is the flaps of 2 and 3 that are finished. So open it up to the inside. So we're going to do page 2 and 3 on the inside. From 2 sheets of your Emerald City, the back side of that, we're going to cut 2 pieces to go behind the pocket that are 7 3/4 wide by 7 1/4 tall. They don't have to go all the way down. Ink the edges, glue those down. So we have the 2 green patterns back here. Then this is from scraps of the leftover from the yellow brick road. So cut 2 of these that are 7 3/4 wide by 2 1/4 tall. Ink them, glue those down on the bottom edge, giving a border here and a here. And then from the Ruby Glitz glitter paper, cut 2 pieces. This is from a full sheet of that. We haven't cut into it yet. That are cut a 3/4 inch strip, then cut it down to 7 3/4 wide. Do 2 of those, 3/4 tall by 7 3/4 wide, and glue that on the top, leaving a little bit of the black margin showing. So that's the pocket and the page. Then we already had the blue cut. These are 6 by 8. Tuck those in the pocket. From the scraps of green, cut a mat that is 3 1/2 by 6, round all 4 corners, attach it to that photo mat. From the blue check, cut a scrap that is 2 3/4 wide by 4 1/4, round all 4 corners for that tucks in there. Then we had the booklet that opens from the top. I cut a scrap of the house with the tornado that is 3 7/8 wide by 2 1/4 tall. Ink it, glue that down. The blue check is 2 3/4 by 3 3/8. This one's 3 3/8 by an inch. Okay, 7/8 or an inch, whatever fits on yours. So these are all from scraps. I'm going to leave the rest of it blank for now. Tuck that in. So this blue pulls out the blue in the gingham, so I like how that looks. And these are going to stay blank. I haven't decided. I may put the photo mats there, maybe with some black. We'll do that later on, or we can leave them plain. So that folds up. So now we're ready to continue on. Hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing else happens with the electricity and the camera rolling, and we can keep everything going. But I apologize again for that, but I think it's pretty simple. You do know how to construct this. Just be sure and not put these pockets on until this pattern paper has been put on. So we're ready to go on to the next portion. For page 4 and 5, on the front flap of page 4, I'm wanting to do this main yellow brick road. So there's only 2 sheets of this with the cut aparts. So I've got one that I'm cutting apart. This one I'm going to use the brick. This is a cut apart from another sheet. So like this one here. So you have the 2 sheets. So for one sheet I'm going to use the brick, the larger brick, and then this had the cut apart. So I want this underneath this 6 by 8 photo mat. I'm going to cut this yellow brick. So there's no going back once we start this. So it's going to be cut at 7 3/4 because it's going over an 8 by 10 page. 7 3/4 by 9 3/4. So cut the 7 3/4 first. Save this piece for page 5. and then turn this and cut it at 9 3/4. Save this in case we need it. Okay, let's move this right now and get the book. Page 4, just the flap of page 4. Right there. So that should fit right there. Okay, let's ink it and glue it down. Commit to it by gluing it down. So I'll get my ink, the edges with the coffee brown of the archival ink. Okay, so now I'm going to glue that down. Okay. Pay attention to the directions so it goes this way because it has some wording in there. So you don't want those upside down. Very small margin of the craft showing. Finish that down. I love that yellow brick. And I like how this other is peeking out from the other side of the page. So let's burnish it down really well. And this is going to be a 6x8 photo mat. And I think I'm going to go ahead and round the corners using the 10 millimeter. So with this, you could put 2 smaller photos, or you could put 1 big photo. So I'm going to put it like that. Okay, let's commit to the page. I think that's the hardest thing in creating, is committing a piece of paper to the page, because that's the only way you can do it, you know. Center it, I'm eyeballing it. It looks pretty good to me. Okay. There's that. Now, for this side on page 5, we'll continue working on the inside of this one in just a bit. So page 5, my vision is I haven't decided if I want black down. I may see how that looks, but I want to try to cut brick road. Okay, so I need it. Let's cut this down to 9 3/4. That's the height, 9 3/4. So we'll go ahead and get that. I hope I didn't goof up. So I want it to start down at the bottom. I want to keep it wide, like here. Curve it around like smaller maybe. So I probably shouldn't have cut that other off, but I think that'd be okay. So I want it to be here and gradually get bigger as we go, like that. Then we'll have these guys here. Does it look funny? Do I want to cut them out or leave it square for a picture? I'm thinking, I think I might like the black on this. So let me cut something for that. Okay, I think I kind of like it like that. I need to ink those. So this sheet here is one full sheet of 12 by 12 black cardstock. Cut it down to 7 7/8 wide by 9 7/8 tall because I wanted it more for a full page, not necessarily with the margin. So I'm going to glue this one down. Okay, so let's get that one on. Barely has a margin there. Okay, so we got the black on. I'm going to ink these guys. Whoops. It's going to go right in there. Okay, and let's see here. Maybe something like that. It's kind of cool. We can put journaling spot up here maybe. I'm going to leave this open. So I'm going to glue this one down. Put it right about there. Yeah, I got the ink everywhere. Okay, clean that up. These guys, I'm going to glue on just the bottom. I'll make a tuck spot and the back right side. So flip it over. It's right there. So tuck under there. So I do like that. Let's see. Did I ink this one already? Maybe. This was fussy cut out of one of the pages. I think it was left over from another one I cut. Glue right here, just along the edge. And I'll fit it here. Okay, and leave it open like that so something can tuck under there if I want to. So this will be left for something to fussy cut out. Something, one of these maybe. Like follow the yellow brick road. Go in there. I'm going to wait on that. That's probably what's going to go in there is follow the yellow brick road. That way I can see what scraps of paper I have to double mat it or something. So that is page 5. So now we're ready to finish the inside of page 4. So we'll do that. For inside page 4, under the flap, we're going to do the brooms and stars and the Wicked Witch of the West. So I'm going to use all 3 sheets of these. I'll give you the measurements as I'm cutting. I'm going to use a sheet of the red glitter. This is left over from where I cut those little strips off. And I cut out this cut apart that says "Be gone before somebody drops a house on you too." And of course, we already had the mat that we cut earlier. That is 3 3/8 by about 4.5. So I'm going to move the book out of the way, and I've got my measurements, and we'll get all this cut and glued down into this section. And this will be held closed with a magnet. This will be left loose like that. And we're coming right along, so we're ready to try to get rid of the Wicked Witch of the West. And then I think after that, we may go to the Emerald City. I'll see. Gotta play with my papers and see what we got. So let me get the trimmer. Sure the camera and everything's still going. Okay, so for the double gate flaps, I think I'm going to use the brooms with the Wicked Witch of the West, and we need 2. We need 2 of this, of that size, and then we'll need 2 of the stars for the back side. So I'm going to cut, let's see, they need to be 3 3/4 wide by 9 3/4 tall. So I'm going to cut my 9 3/4 first, right here. Nope, I went the other way because I want this whole witch down here on the bottom. 9 3/4 right there. That's the height. Okay, turn it so I want this witch on one half, on one flap, so that is 3 3/4 right there. So it gets her down there in the bottom. Okay, part of another one, but I wanted that, like that. Okay, and then the next one, let me look. I think 3 3/4. I'll do it here. Continuation, kind of. And then, so that is that. Okay. Then I get the stars on the back for inside, so I can get one more out of this sheet, 3 3/4. Perfect. That's the back side. And so, take a second sheet. I'm just going to cut the 3 3/4 first. 3 3/4 first for that. Put aside and get my 9 3/4 quarters for stars. Okay, there's that. Now on the inside, we need 2 that are 7 3/4 by 9 3/4. So let's see what we got. I hope I don't know. 7 3/4 right there. That one I had left, so I can get 7 3/4 for the stars by 9 3/4. Right there. And on this third sheet, I can get 7 3/4. And 9 3/4 for that one. Okay, we got that. Move all these scraps out of the way. Then we need the red glitter, which is going to be 3 1/4. by 4 3/8. That. It's going to go with this. So let's round the corners. It's going to go right there, and the magnet's going to go in between. I think I'll put more than one magnet to make sure it holds. Like that, and my cut apart will go right here. Be gone before somebody drops a house on you too. I like that. It's cute. Okay, so we need our magnets. Let's see here. I found that one I lost a while ago. Got one. So one set. Let's do 2 sets. I'm thinking 2 sets would probably work. These are pretty strong little magnets. Go right there. They are. Okay, so let's move this out of the way and bring the book back, and let's see what we can put together. Before I do that, I'm going to, off camera, go ahead and ink all the edges, and then I'll be back for the gluing it in. Okay, I'm back. I've inked everything, so let's pop on over here underneath the flap of page 4. So here on the front is where the Wicked Witch of the West and her brooms are going to go, right like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue those on. Okay, there's the first one. And the second one. Yep, continuation of that broom. When we cut it, you plan your cuts so that, you know, it's just split in the middle where it's cut. Okay. Now then, let's do this little piece here. Okay, this is going to glue on top of the glitter. Love that glitter, like the ruby slippers. Okay, so the magnet is going to go in the back of this one. The magnet sets are tape. I'll put one in each corner. So about right here, right here. Glue this magnet down. Separate the one off the top. I should have already taken that one off, because you have to wait for it to glue. So this one goes here, and this off. They're heavy. This goes right about here. Took a little bit of tape. Get them over just a little bit. Kind of got them close to the edge. I didn't want them quite that close, so before they're completely attached, just go ahead and move them just a little bit in. There we go. Okay, that looks icky. So now we're going to glue this to the black tag that I have. And this black tag is, we cut that when we did all our page, making our pages, was 3 3/8 by 4.5. If you have a different size, you just remeasure and cut all your components, your layer pieces to fit whatever you have, okay? So don't panic if yours is a little bit different size, because it may depend on your scraps, and that's okay. It's kind of close to what would work for a 3x4 image. Let me move this up. You still see on the camera. And let's get this one down. I'll be off camera just a tiny bit here, but not too bad. We don't have as much black margin on this one. Okay, so burnish that down. So now we have our magnets here and here, and this is going to go through that. I'm going to attach these magnets. Did I lose another one again? No. To the back of that. See, like that? Now this is going to sit here. So I'm going to do one side at a time. It goes, I want it underneath here so it goes through. Hopefully we'll go through everything. So let me turn this so I can get to where I can get to it. So this one here is going to go about right there. And put some glue right there, dot of glue. Take my magnet, stick it on so the right side is facing up, correct side I should say, that's going to attach. I'm going to cover that with tape. Shut this down. Let's see how she works. Okay. So I'm going to open this up, attach it to there. And now I can attach this one. There. And I'm going to put this one on back here, and then I put my dot of glue just on the magnet. Touch it down here, and then let it grab right there. I'm going to lift up. It's going to show me where the mark is. I'm going to place it back. Put my tape on. That should be ready there. This is black on the back, perfect for a photo, and that holds it down. Lift up, be gone before somebody drops a house on you too. I like that. Okay, so now we open this up. This back here has one of the stars. Did I give you the measurements for those? I think I did. Was you're 7 3/4 wide by 9 3/4 tall. Remember, there's a cutting guide. The link is in my description box down below. You click on that, it'll take you to my Google Docs, and then you can download it and print it up. So we'll get this on. So we'll go over the magnets. Okay, burnish it down. This is fun, 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 fun. Okay, then we have the, now I planned it to be the stars, yes, so it goes this way. And this was also a 3 3/4 wide by 9 3/4 tall, so that goes on the back side of the flaps. If you're wanting to conserve paper and you just wanted to leave it craft and put some photo mats there, you could. Things don't always have to be totally patterned, you know. If you don't have a seam you're covering and you have pretty craft or black album pages, well, you can just put your photo mats on there. But I wanted to use all these stars. So here's the other one. Now this may be out of order of when they actually went to the Emerald City, because I think that happened, this happened probably afterwards, but that's okay. This is where I wanted this one to be. Okay, so there's that. Cute. This drops down, and we have stars on this one. I'm going to turn it sideways so I can get in here. And it's the same size as the other one we did. And it goes right there. And I did ink all of these. You can't really see it on the black, but I did ink the edges with the coffee ink. Okay. Love it. Okay. This is such a fun collection. Okay, so flip this down. So there we have the Yellow Brick Road. Flip it up. We've got where we're trying to take care of the witch, and this all opens up. Lots of places for photos. And then the Yellow Brick Road continuing here, and we've got the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion. And you can stick a photo in there. I may add some more stuff in here. Of course, I'm going to put that one saying here. So that's pages 4 and 5. So yeah, we're ready to move on to the next one. Pages 6 and 7. I'm going to go ahead and make that the Emerald City. So on this full page, I want the Emerald City, but it's obviously too long to get the whole thing. And I think I'm going to splice it somehow, but first I'm going to cut this away, 2 cuts, to get it kind of centered, or with the balloon here on the side. So I have taken my pencil, I laid it out, and I put a tick mark here and a tick mark here. So I'm going to go get the trimmer for that. Bring that in and show you. So my first cut is going to be, remember I've already used this side somewhere else. So my first cut is going to be, I'm going to turn it upside down so I can see where my tick marks are. Right here, move it in just a little bit because I want a margin. So I place it at 2 on the left side of the paper because I've got it upside down. So I'll make a cut, my cutoff there. So I have that, got the balloon like that. So the total size is going to be 7 3/4. So now we put this at 7 3/4 right here. And that should hit just about where that pencil mark was that I had. And it is. Place that. Okay, so now we have the long image, but it is too long for the album page. And this is what happens when you have 12 by 12 collections and the smaller albums. You've got to, cut things down to make them work. So I love the shadow of them all going down the Yellow Brick Road, but I don't want to lose the top of my castle either. So I need 9 3/4 total, and I need to cut out. Gee, that's math, right? Let's see where we want to cut it. Well, we know for a fact we're going to cut where we keep the shadow. Yeah. So I'm going to line that up about where that bend is, maybe. I'm going to cut that. So I have, and you know what? That would have been a good, maybe we'll do that. Let's see. I don't know. A pocket here, but then decisions. Bring this in. See, it's still that castle. Gotta lose some of it. I don't want to lose it. I'm going to cut a little more off of my, right above their head. Oh, and this is nerve-wracking because it's the only sheet I have left, right? So this piece is like 2 7/8 or so. It's going to go like that. You know, I think I'm going to make a pocket. We'll put this in at the top. Build a pocket over it, and this will go in the pocket. So, change of plans here. So this one is from the bottom. Cut just a little bit more for 2 7/8. Okay. 2 7/8. Right along the top edge here. Write that down. 2 7/8 tall by 7 3/4 wide. Yep. For the pocket. And then that leaves my other piece. Eight 1/4 tall by 7 3/4 wide castle or Emerald City. I keep calling it castle, but it's Emerald City. So that's going to go there. I'm going to go ahead and glue that one down. I'm going to ink it right quick while I've got you on the camera. I'm going to glue it down, and then I'm going to go make a pocket. I'm going to not go make. I'm going to grab some cardstock, and we're going to make a pocket. Just like we always make pockets. But going to make it to fit that piece there. So this is a case of how your patterned paper determines your design, like whether you have a flap or a pocket or what have you. Go ahead and ink this one while I've got it going. Okay. So this one goes here. And the glue. On the top. Make sure I'm getting it on even. Stand up a little bit sometimes. Okay, about like that. Emerald City. Okay, now we need a pocket. So I'll get those measurements, get that cut, and then I'll show you making the pocket. Okay, so if I got it figured right, I cut a piece of cardstock to make a pocket that's 8 7/8. I made it a little shorter so it would fit in here because we're kind of condensing down on some of the sizes. And I made it 3 1/8 tall. So cut one piece out of scrap of black cardstock, 8 7/8 by 3 1/8, and we're going to score it and make it a pocket. So grab my scoreboard. Put your 8 7/8 in at the top, and we're going to score it a 1/2 inch. And this is going to be easier when you have an odd measurement to do it this way. Turn your 3 1/8 here at the top, score at a 1/2 inch. Turn to the long ways again, so you get a 1/2 inch on the other end. So we're scoring a 1/2 inch on each of the long ends of the 8 7/8, and then 1/2 inch score on the short side. Okay, and that means we need scissors. There we go. My desk gets really messy. Everything gets moved around. Angle cut through that intersection. Fold and burnish. And if you mitered it correctly, it will not overlap there in the corner. So there's the pocket. Oh, I do believe I miscalculated, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to recut this because I do want this whole image here like that. So what did one do? Hang on and we'll figure that out. Okay, so I recalculated it. I had the length correct. Width was wrong, but I think I got it now. So I cut this to 8 7/8, which is what was correct, and it needs to be 3 5/8. Save that other pocket if you made it. I don't know if I'll use it or not, but you can use it on a different project. But the measurements will be correct in your cutting guides. If you're following that, you should be just fine. Put your 8 7/8 in at the top, score at a 1/2 inch. Turn with your 3 5/8 at the top and score at a 1/2 inch. Turn one more time with the 8 7/8 in at the top and score at a 1/2 inch to make the pocket. Angle cut the lines intersect. Burnish those, fold them up and burnish all on the same side. Mitered it correct, it won't intersect there, it should fit properly. And if I did it right, this should mat properly. Yes, that looks good. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on. I did already ink this, so I'm going to glue this onto the pocket. And then this will be page 6 done. We'll just have to make some kind of tag for it on the inside of the pocket. And burnish. Okay, here we go. I got glue off. There they are, headed to the Emerald City at last. Okay, so this you just glue on the 1/2 inch attachment tabs on the back on all 3 sides. And attach it down to the bottom of the page. Overstending, okay. And we have to really burnish this where this over here on the side is. It kind of wants to pop up because it's getting thick down in there to do, with all the pages. Burnish on the bottom and on the side. Okay, that's that. I love that. That gives that distinction. We still have the whole Emerald City. We've got them coming down the yellow brick road. I really like how that looks like that. Okay, so I'll decide later what goes in there. Some of our cut aparts that we have may go in there and everything. So I'm going to plan page 7 now. Should be pretty easy. Well, actually, I do know what I want on that. I'm going to use the back side of these. I'm using one of these. Remember, you get 2, so one of these will be our cut aparts. So this side, I want this paper, kind of the glittery, starry paper. And for page 7, we cut only one that is 7 3/4 by 9 3/4. So let's open this up. 7 3/4 wide. Save that cutoff. By 9 3/4 tall. There we go. We're going to ink it. Ink will show on this one. So you can see that aging with the coffee colored brown on the edge. And I like that look of aging there to it. And I'll probably put a little bit lightly in different spots. Okay, now then, let's take this off. This is one we cut before, the 6 by 8. We're going to round that all 4 corners. Of this photo mat. Let's put our paper down onto page 7. Okay. The glue. Remember, don't panic about all these little icons going away. We had one full sheet that we got to use, and then we had the little mini ones on the branding sheet as well. Now, this is making this whole project out of just one paper collection. So when you do that, you will have to utilize some of your cut apart pages to get the variety of your patterns going. And let's make sure it's even, best I can. Okay, love that. That's a pretty, pretty pattern. I'm going to burnish it really well. This kind of goes with Glinda, the Good Witch. So we may put a cut apart of her here somewhere in the decorating. So this has a photo mat here. I'm going to make sure I get it centered. I'm going to put the glue on the back. Center that. Now we're working on page 9, which is really simple. It's just going to be a plain page. So I've already cut mine. I did decide to put it on black cardstock to bring all this together with the black. So I cut, let's see, wait. This is page 8. Sorry, we're working on page 8. I looked at my notes and I'm like, well, that's not right. Page 8, let me turn this. Okay, page 8 is real simple. So I took one sheet of the Flying Monkeys and cut that down to 7 5/8 wide by 9 3/4 tall, and one sheet of black artisan cardstock, and that is 7 7/8 wide by 10 tall, because I did want it to go all the way to the end of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. So I'm using, I think, probably all of the 3 sheets of the Flying Monkeys for this double page spread here for 8 and 9, because 9 has a lot of pockets and components on it, and it also has that pop-up on the inside, that pop-up element that we did, and we'll be gluing onto the page. So I'm going to make sure this lines up here on the side, the top, the bottom. You stand up. I have to stand to make sure nothing is going over the edge. It's a little close here. So I'm going to lift up and I'm going to trim just a tiny bit off this edge so it's under the size that I said, 7 5/8 wide. Make it just about another 1/8 of an inch shorter, so that'd be 7 1/2 instead, or 1/16 of an inch off. So it's just a little bit of the black on that. So I need to put my glue back on, but it's better to have it so it's not sticking into that fold. So a little craft is going to show from the page, but that's okay. So glue it back up. You see how fast art glitter glue can dry when you have to recut something real quick. Okay, so my monkeys go this way. Make sure they're not upside down. Okay. Let's see here. Sometimes I don't think the page is quite square. So I'm going to let a little bit of craft show there. Okay. Burnish down. Hope I don't have to put more glue on there. Find my burnishing tool. Right here, I may have to put some more glue. But I love this paper with these flying monkeys. They're crazy. Crazy flying monkeys. It's been years since I've watched The Wizard of Oz. I used to watch it all the time, every year with my daughter. But haven't in a while. They used to show it regularly on TV, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Of course, you could find it, you know, by streaming it or something. But, so there is that. Now then, some of this I have cut, some of it I have not. So now we're on to page 9. Let me turn my notes so I can see what I jotted down. So I have cut for these flappies here. This side here I need to punch. So I'm going to use these stars here on the front. So I'm going to punch just the 2 corners, just around the 2 corners on the long side where this goes. Helps to punch it good. There we go. So it's like that. I'm going to put, this doesn't go here, but I'm going to put it here so I can see that I'm lining up correctly. And I need to ink this, I think. So let me grab my ink. I'm using the stars because the flying monkeys, if I remember correctly, came on the scene with the Wicked Witch of the West. So I had to repunch that corner because it didn't look right. Okay, so this one sticks down here. And now this one, those corners look good, so let's put the glue on this one. Okay, these are going to go in the inside. I will give you the measurements in a second. So in the inside here, I'm thinking on the flaps, I'm going to put the back of the monkeys. This is another scrap. See, I need to move this tape. It's kind of not where it needs to be. It's hanging over where the black's got to show. So I need to make sure it's like this. Okay, so that's going to go there. So I have these two cut from the back side of the monkeys, which is just the sky. So I'm going to go around these corners, and then we'll ink it. That. Okay, so let's glue these guys on. And burnish over the magnet. Okay, so there's our flaps like that. So now this piece here, I'm going to continue the flying monkeys all the way across. So these two pieces are going to be 6 3/4 wide by 4 3/4 tall. Okay, so let me grab my trimmer here. Oops, hit my microphone. Sorry about that. Okay, so what did I say? 6 3/4 wide. I want this where the lighter is. I'm going to cut 6 3/4 first to get my sides here. Let me save this cut off here and flip this around. So there we got that. So now we're going to cut 4 3/4 and another one 4 3/4. Save the cut off. So this one should go here and this one goes here. Okay, so that goes like that. That looks cute. And that one goes up there. So let's glue those on. Oh, gotta ink. Better ink first. Okay, so there's that. Looks like that. So when you open this up, we have this flip up here. This side is where the blue's going, and it's the same size that we just cut on the other side. So it's Neptune blue. So these are photo mats. So these are 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. I'm just gonna pop them on there. Now inside that pocket, we had already cut the yellow tags. And mine were not going in as far as I wanted them to, so I did cut off a 1/2 inch on those yellow tags. I'm going to leave the measurement what I originally had, because yours may be working fine. I think I was having a little problem with this pocket here, so I did trim them down, and I'm going to put a pull thing on them. So check yours and see. And so what I did is I just cut 1/2 inch off and then re-rounded the corners. Okay, so now I just need to decide what I want on these two here. I'm thinking I'm still want to do the flying monkeys, but I'm not sure. So let me think about that. Okay, so for here on the front of the pockets, I decided to use the yellow gingham. So you need to cut 2 of these that are 6 3/4 wide by 4 3/4 tall. And I did take that from another full sheet of the yellow gingham. So I am just marking the center here so I can match the thumbnail punch that I put on the pocket. So line it up, put me a mark where I can see where the center is of where I want to do the punch. Take my punch. Now my line needs to be a little bit longer so I can actually see it. There we go. So just draw it out so that it's long enough for you to see if you're using this type of punch. And then go ahead and center it with that line. And then it should fit pretty good, matching up. It may not be perfect, but I'm okay with however it turns out. So using the line usually helps to get it all lined up. So I'm going to erase the pencil mark so it doesn't show, and check it out, and it does line up. So I do like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. And first I'm going to go ahead and make sure I ink it. Okay, so now I have the pockets patterned with the yellow gingham paper. I have my yellow tags in the pocket, but you can still see there where the flaps are attached, and you can still see the craft underneath there. So we need to fill that in. So I have cut 2 pieces of scrap of the clouds to fit in that area. So the inside the pocket, out of scraps, cut 2 of the blue sky clouds that are 1 1/2 inches tall by 4 3/4. 4 3/4 tall by 1 1/2 inches wide. So I had that backwards for you. So just cut those out of scraps and then glue those in. Now it's going to leave a little gap in the middle there, which I didn't pattern at this time. I will come back during decorating and fill that in, that little section there. Once I put the other blue one on, you're going to see there's still going to be a little split in there between where there's some crafts showing. It's not that bad, but I am going to come back later and add a little scrap of paper there. Okay, so I'm going to put the tag back in, and I'm showing you here that there's that little section there that's going to need to be covered. It doesn't show when the flaps are down, but we'll need to add something in there for sure. So now let's go ahead and close this up. So that is the pockets there on the front of this page. So next we're going to work on our pop-up element. Okay, so now we're going to work on the inside where you open up this section here under the flap that we just did all this. So I want to make this flap over here match this one over here. So I cut black cardstock out of 1 full sheet, 7 7/8 by 10, and then the other remaining full sheet of Flying Monkeys, 7 5/8 by 9 3/4. So I'm going to glue those together. I did ink the edges of this one. Okay, put these together. Said it's going to glue here on the back side of the flap. And I made it to fit where it's mostly black from top to bottom without any craft much showing. So I'm going to glue this on. Okay. And then for that center section, I'm going to do the Neptune blue, my colors. Oh, there it is. So cute like that. So then this is going to go in the middle, and I didn't mat it to black. I decided to just leave it with the craft around it. And so this one is 7 3/4 wide by 9 3/4 tall. So it's going to give a margin of the craft showing. Adding in some of the solid my colors to a collection can really help stretch your projects, especially when you have some large pages like this. Okay. Now this is where our pop-up is going to go. Our pop and twist element that we made. This right here. Just like that. So for this, I'm going to cut a piece of the Flying Monkeys. And we'll put that on the front. Okay, so I've cut my paper for the front of this one, and I cut one out of a scrap, a Flying Monkey that's 4 wide by 5 1/4 tall. And that's going to go on right there, like that. Then I did go ahead and put a magnet in here and in here. Now you have to just kind of eyeball it. I put it right on the center there and about the same distance apart so that they could catch. I want that to be held closed like that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one on the front, and then I'm going to work on the matting on the inside. Before I actually go ahead and put it into the book. So let's get this piece here on the front. You don't have to put anything on the back, of course, because that's going to be glued down. I'm going to move it over just a tiny bit. Just not quite where I want it. Okay, so burnish it down. Got a lot of thickness there to burnish it through. Okay, we got that. Now I'm going to open it up and decide I need a piece here and here, and then on the little squares. Okay, so I've got everything cut. I'll give you the measurements for here, these two. You're going to want, and I cut these from scraps. I'm going to use the clouds, the back of the Flying Monkeys, two that are 4 wide by 3 1/2 tall, to make them fit right here. And I inked them. You want to make sure that they don't go where that little fold is down in there. So go ahead and glue those on. And you can choose whatever scraps you have that you might like. Or you could put just solid my colors, because you could put photos here as well. But I'm going to make mine decorative. And of course, if photos are added over it, that's fine. So I've got that one there. So here is the one for the bottom. And you put those over the magnets to make sure that that's covering those up. Okay. So right there. Center it. Especially over that magnet, do some burnishing around there to make sure that it stays down. Okay, so for the squares, what I'm going to do is use some of the red glitter paper. So I cut 4 that are 2 1/4 wide by 2 1/2 tall. Lay those out. And then I went to my scraps, and I had enough of the witch that I could get. You want 4 pieces that are, let's see, 2 wide by 2 1/4 tall. And of course I inked the edges. So I've got the Wicked Witch there. And I'm going to put, this one was cut out of one of the cut-aparts. So it's Dorothy on the Yellow Brick Road. Then I'm going to do the Yellow Brick Road here, and then poppies. So all of these end up being 2 inches wide by 2 1/4 tall. And I did round the corners because I needed to round the corners on this one because it was a cut-apart. It had some white showing it. I didn't want that. So I'm going to glue each of these on to the glitter. So your scraps may be different, and that's fine. You just want to kind of decorate this up. And I like the yellow brick, kind of a pop of color there with the red. And then I wanted the witch. I was glad I had that, the Wicked Witch of the West, to kind of tie in with the monkeys. Okay. Really got to burnish this down. Might need extra glue on the, where you glue to the glitter paper. I see someone's going to pop up. Some here needs some more glue. And the witch. Okay, so now let's take this. Someone put Dorothy here, so it'll have a margin of black around it. Of course, you don't have to put the decorative paper if you don't want to. Images, you can just put solid My Colors if you wanted to, and then leave those for photo mats. That's totally up to you. Flatten this down so I can get that on there good. Because it would be easier to do before you do all your putting it into the mechanism, into the pop-up, the card piece, but this will still work just fine. So get this one on as straight as I can. The poppies. See the glitter, red glitter pulls out the red of the poppies here in this image. This. And Wicked Witch. Okay. Okay, so we got those. So this will pull back up. So let that dry for a minute before I close it up. But there's the pop-up. I'm going to add some more glue to my little bottle, and then we'll put this into the book. Okay, so I'll let it dry. So there's our pop-up, pop and twist. So we're ready to attach it into the album. So I'm going to center it right here. And so flip it over. And on the back side, you're going to put a good amount of glue. You want to make sure that it sticks down because it's going to be opening and closed quite a bit. So we need to make sure that we get it attached down. So I'm putting glue all the way around the perimeter, a good amount. And then especially in the center here, I'm going to put glue. Okay. So now making sure that the fold is at the top, like that. We're going to center it. I'm just kind of eyeballing it from side to side and top to bottom. Okay, just like that. And then you need to kind of lift it up and burnish it on the inside in the sections that are fitting flat down into the book. So I'm just making sure if there's any glue coming out that I've got it wiped off, and I'm reaching in underneath with my fingers and burnishing to make sure it sticks down. Let me grab my bone folder, and that way I can reach in a little bit better and burnish. Okay, so now that I have this done, I can see that the magnets are not going to hold that I had thought would hold. So I'm going to make some type of closure and add one more extra magnet that can catch the magnet that's already there. So I'm just looking to see how everything opens and closes, make sure nothing's getting hung here. Kind of have to place your hand there because I added that extra thickness in there, but everything's going to work out okay. So next, I think we'll go ahead and do that magnetic closure for the pop and twist. Okay, so to create a closure with another magnet, I'm just going to need one magnet because I already have one on the pop and twist element. So I've placed a magnet there. I am taking a scrap of the Neptune blue, my colors cardstock, and I cut one that is 2 1/4 by 1 1/4, and I scored it at the 2 1/4 side at a 1 1/4 and a half inch. And I used the blue so we don't have to worry about it not matching in with the background of the page. Then I took the yellow brick road pattern paper and cut two that are 1 inches wide by 1 1/4 tall. And those are going to be glued onto the long section of the attachment. So here I'm showing you where the magnet is on the outside. That's where it's going to catch. It's going to catch the top magnet that's already under the flap there. So off camera, off the screen of the camera, I had my pieces too far down. I'm sorry about that. I am gluing the yellow brick scraps of paper that I cut to 1 inch wide by 1 1/4 tall. I'm gluing those onto that longer piece of Neptune blue. Make sure you don't put it over the score lines though. Now I have punched a 2-inch circle out of the blue cardstock, and I just slid it under that magnet so that I know where I'm going to glue the magnet on. So I've got that done. So that's going to be the back piece of the closure. I also punched out one 2-inch circle out of the stars and one 2-inch circle out of the cut apart that says where you go. Okay, so here's our
closure piece, the rectangle piece, and I just put a line of glue on the very top. I'm going to fit that right there on the bottom of that blue circle, right underneath the magnet. And then I'm going to put the cut apart that I punched into a circle and put that on top. Make sure I put some glue on my magnet here. Just like that. Make sure it's turned so it's kind of straight. Okay, I'm gonna lift that up. Then on this back side, I want to finish that off. I don't want to leave it just blue. So that's where I put the 2-inch circle of stars on the back of the closure piece. So this shows me where it's going to fit down. So I'm going to open up my score lines, and glue just goes on that 1/4 inch section. You want the other piece to be able to stand up and give you some space there. So just glue that 1/4 inch down, and I reach in there and burnish. Clean off my glue. I'm going to let that dry. And then I will glue that stars onto the back of that circle once everything has dried. Now we're ready to pattern page 10, and in preparation of that and some decorating, I thought I would show you how I did fussy cut out one pair of the little shoes, and I colored them red with a red Olo marker that I have purchased from Country Craft Creations. So now I'm going to take my glue, which is art glitter glue. Now that's why it's called art glitter glue. It was originally designed to add glitter to pieces. So here is the pen that I used, the Olo marker, and I just colored the shoes red. I'm using a real fine glitter, and I'm just going to put some glitter on these shoes. Now there's a lot of shoes in the paper. I end up just coloring all the rest of them and not adding glitter, but I thought I would show you that if you wanted to put glitter, you could use your art glitter glue. I have a piece of paper towel underneath, and I'm just adding glue on the parts of the shoes that I want the glitter on. So just you need to cover it solid. I'm using my fingers to kind of spread it out. You don't want it clumpy. You want it to where the glitter will be flat and added to the shoe. Now, if you had stickles, you could use red glitter stickles or something like that to add the red glitter if you wanted to. So first get your glue on. I just thought that I would show you how to add some glitter to some fussy cut out images to kind of make your own embellishments. So I'm getting it here on the side of this shoe. Okay, then take your glitter and you're going to sprinkle glitter completely over the image that has the glue. Make sure it's all covered. I'm going to recap that. And I'm going to grab some scissors, not scissors, but tweezers. We don't use scissors. And I'm just going to carefully pick it up and tap that excess glitter off. And there we have some ruby red slippers. Now on the inside, some of the glitter is still there. It's not glued on. So I'm just taking the Teflon tip of my tweezers and I'm just pushing that glue out of the center of the shoes. You want to make sure that that's free of glitter there, because that would be the inside of the shoe. Okay, so there it is. Got my little ruby red glittered slippers. I'm just going to set that aside to use on the on page 10 after we add our patterned paper. So I'm going to set them there. Hopefully I don't mess them up, and I'm just going to go ahead and just toss this. I had plenty of red glitter, so I'm not going to try to put it back in the bottle. Okay, so now we're ready to start adding patterned paper to the last page in the book, which is page 10. So I've already pre-cut my papers. So out of the yellow check gingham on the side that has there's no place like home, I used a full sheet, so I'm using the back side, so it's okay that you don't see that. So here on the pocket section, I have one that's cut 7 3/4 wide by 3 3/4 tall. Now there is a notch, and I'm going to cover that notch up because my other pockets don't have a notch in them. So yes, I'm putting glue on the back side where it says there's no place like home, because I'm going to be using that somewhere else in the book. So I'm just going to glue this on at the top, and this piece is 7 3/4 wide by 6.5 tall, so that it slips down into the pocket. So just line it up, and you'll have a little bit of craft margin showing. So make sure you get it on there straight. Okay. And then the piece that I gave you, the 7 3/4 wide by 3 3/4 tall, glues here, and it goes over the notch. So that would be pretty too, but you get the leg of the scarecrow, so no. We're going to go ahead and just use the yellow gingham for the pocket. So attach that down. Now you need to make sure where that paper is going over that notch that it's not gluing it down completely. Now I am going to cover that. First, let me vacuum up my bits of glitter that were loose. I do have a little vacuum that I use. So you still see some of the notch. So I took this cut apart of the poppies, and I'm just going to glue it there above the pocket a little bit so that it covers that notch. So make sure I don't put glue on that part. You could also have cut a strip of the red glitter paper. That would have been pretty, and put that across the top of the pocket as well, like we did on the others. So I'm making sure that it's not stuck down. Okay. In this pocket we had put, oh, that's my waterfall. Okay, we had a large photo mat cut that is, I'm going to cut, making sure my measurements, I'm going to cut red glitter paper to fit that. So I cut one of the red glitter at 6 by 6 3/8. So it's just going to glue onto that photo mat that we had put in the pocket earlier when we were doing our pages, or our flaps and pockets. So go ahead and glue this down. And you'll see in just a second why I wanted the glitter like this, a full sheet, a full piece of glitter on this black. So let's burnish it down. And then from another sheet of the yellow gingham, I did cut out there's no place like home to fit, and that is 6 1/4 wide by 5 3/4 tall, and I cut it so that I could just barely cut off a bit of the P. And down here at the bottom, I folded it back. The others I rounded the corners, but this one I folded it back because I wanted some of that glitter to show. So I just thought that was a different way to decorate this. So now I'm going to glue this down. And give me a border at the top of the red glitter it's showing, and then you can see that one down at the bottom. Burnish that completely down. The reason I have the fold is because to make it actually fit, I couldn't avoid some of the imagery that I didn't want on there. So now I see that I didn't get it on quite even on one side. I have some sticking over, so I'm just going to trim that off with my scissors. If that happens to you anytime something's not where it's supposed to be, you can just trim that off and still make it even. Okay. I'm going to round the corner here again, where I trimmed it off to make sure that it matches up. Okay, so there's no place like home, and that's going to tuck inside there in the pocket. And then we have a booklet or a fold over tag that we had made earlier. And I'm just checking my measurements to make sure my pattern paper fits. And I'm using the poppy that's on that yellow gingham. I'm going to ink it really quick. And I cut that one piece at 3 3/4. One piece of that is 3 3/8 wide by 5 1/4 tall. So that's just out of the scrap of what we had left from the yellow gingham. So glue that on. And I did round the 2 bottom corners of this piece of paper of the poppy on the yellow gingham. So I'm going to glue it on the front of the tag, the fold over tag, or booklet, whichever you want to call it. Burnish that down. And so that's going to fit into the pocket and hang over the front like this. Okay. So like that. And then we have another tag here. And I cut from a full sheet of the My Colors Golden Yellow, I cut a piece that is 4 1/4 wide by 5 3/4 tall. And that's going to glue on this photo mat. Now you can always go back through using your scraps of paper to make more booklets, more tags, whatever you have based on the different sizes that you have when you're decorating, and add more into your album that way. Okay, so we have that. And then now we're ready to start on the inside. Wait, let's use our little shoes. So I think I wanted them here among the poppies. I just thought it was a cute decorative element to have the little glittered slippers right there. So I'm just going to turn them over, add a little bit of glue on the back, and glue them onto the fold over tag. Okay, so now we're ready to let that dry, and then we'll get started on the last section, which is our back inside cover.
For the inside of this, we're going to cut one piece of black cardstock. I don't know if I've already put that on there or not. So this one is 8 by 10, I believe. Yeah. Now I may have already put that in the guide. I will double check on my glue. So this is going to go on the back inside cover here. So I'm just going to quickly glue that on, and then we're going to build up our waterfall and pocket on it. This. Okay, and this is going to fit right in here on the back inside cover. Kind of make sure we have the same margin going all the way around. We don't want it into the fold here on the left. That's for sure. Get it on as straight as I can. Okay. So the first pattern piece we're going to put on is this one, which I cut out. I want the poppies, and I cut it out of the blue gingham. This piece is cut out of scrap, or a big size scrap that is 7 3/4 wide by 7 1/2 tall. You might have needed to cut that out of a full sheet. I don't know, but I'm inking the edges and a little bit of ink in on there to give it that aged look. I'll get a little bit of this over here. Okay. All right. So this is going to glue right there. So let's put that one on. Put the poppies at the top. Gonna make sure they're even. Okay. Finish that down. Okay, so next is the pocket that we've already made. So for it, I have a scrap of the blue gingham that is 7 3/4 wide by 2 1/4 tall. Go ahead and ink that up. Glue it on, and I'm going to bring it down to the bottom because we're going to use that red glitter paper as a border along the top of the pocket. Okay, so this one is 3/4 wide by 7 3/4 long. Put it on, bring it down a little bit of a border on the top. Make it even. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to put the pocket on, and it goes right here. So glue on all 3 flaps on the back where they're folded under. I'm going to put that right here. Burnish that, make sure they stick down good, the little 1/2 inch pocket hinges on the back. And that glitter that you see is coming off the shoes, it's not off the paper. So there's the pocket. Okay, so now the waterfalls. So remember we had 3. So I cut 6 pieces out of scraps that are all see here. They're all 1 3/4 tall by 5 3/4 wide. Now, 3 of them are cut. Pick this one. 3 of them are cut so that they work going horizontal, the design. So check that out. And 3 are working vertical designs. Okay, so I'm going to ink these really quick, speed up the camera, and ink these 6 pieces. Okay, so we've got those inked. The waterfall flaps. Let's go ahead and put our flaps in, and then I can decide where I want to put my pieces. The reason they're cut that way is because I want to be able to have like like this, take up that space. That leaves a 4x6 area for a landscape portrait or picture. And then if I do it the other way, it's going to be for a 4x6 portrait saw. Okay, so that gives you the option of doing that 3 different ways. So now for the hinge, for the waterfall. So the first one is going to go right here on top. So you put your glue on the 1/2 inch, 6 inches long here, where we've scored it already. And I want the fold, I want to center this side to side right along the top edge of the black that's down. So make sure it is straight as we can here. Clean off the glue. Now we are going to cover up some of our image, but that's okay. We'll add paper in these flaps in here. So this one's next. Butt it up to the cut line of the one you just put down. Make sure it's staying straight on the sides, and then burnish it once you have confirmed that. The next one. Again, put the fold right against the cut edge of the one you just put down. Make sure they're even. And burnish. Okay, so there we have that. Now then, I'm thinking I'm going to put the poppy here on the bottom of this one. So that should give you a 4x6 area for a photo right there. Let's go ahead and pop this one up. Make sure I have my directions. That's going to be that away. This is this away. And either these can go either way. Okay. So next, I think I'm going to put this one here. Your scraps may be different, whatever you have that fits. Okay. I'm going to do, I think on this, I'm going to do this one this side. And pop this one up. And I'm going to that like that. Put this one over here. You could use the cloud side if you wanted to, whichever you want to use. Put this one down here. Look at my wording, make sure I'm not doing it upside down. And then the last one can go either way you want. I'm going to do it this way. So what did I end up with? 1, 2. Well, if I want it to be like that, I think I'm going to put it up here. Okay. There we go. Now to hold the waterfalls closed down, we're going to use a tag in the pocket. So that closes down like that. And this is going to go in there. So we just need to decide what we want to put on that one. And we'll be pretty much done with our patterned paper. For this photo mat, I had a scrap of the poppies and the stripe. I'm going to use the stripe side. That is cut down to 4 1/4 wide by 5 3/4 tall. I also had enough of the yellow gingham, but I felt since I used blue gingham on this page, I would not use yellow. Of course, that's just up to you. That was my preference. So let's line these up pretty evenly. Burnish this down and pop that in there. So there we have that. It's pretty much patterned, I think, everything, unless we need some more tags and stuff. But we got the front spine and the back cover done, and we're going to do the decorating next. We've got this section done. We've got this. Then we have these in here. We may add some more here. I do have these, but I have sheets that I might use. I have the tornado, I think I could still use, so I'll decide on that. That would probably work there because I have the tornado here. So that's just optional, or you could put a photo mat. So we have that page and then that. So we have 2 of those. I do have 2 sheets of the tornado, so I think that's what I will do. Might as well just go ahead and do that now because I do have 2 full sheets of that I could use, just like this. I think I'll do the house ones. So I'm going to cut those, measure those, cut those, and get them glued in. Okay, I've already added this one over here, inked all the edges, and put a little ink in on the clouds to kind of give it that little vintagey brown look. And I'm using the side that has the house and the slippers. Go ahead and put the glue on this piece. And go ahead and glue this one on. Give it a margin at the top and the bottom and a little bit on the side. Okay. So there we have those, like that. Closes up. We have this side here, the mat. We have all of this inside here done. This one I may add some more poppies while I do the decorating. This one has a pocket here. I don't have anything in here. I'm going to have to go through my scraps and just assorted scraps that you may have for tags. Got this. We got this one in here. Flips up. We got this. Got this little piece here. Okay. And we got this one, and we got these. So, yeah, the pattern portion is done. So next, I'm going to plan what I'm going to do on the cover. I'll show you that on the video, and then I will do decorating, make some extra tags just out of scraps, kind of random size tags. I may give you the measurements of those. But that's where we're at with this. So next, we'll do the decorating of the cover. We already had matted this with the black and then the gingham here that I inked, the blue gingham. I have off camera did a bunch of fussy cutting. Now, this piece here came from the yellow gingham, and I loosely fussy cut this piece in here, because of what I'm going to be trying to do, I did use detail fussy cutting with my newfound tool that I've discovered I really like for detail stuff in here. It's called a gyro. Yeah, gyro. And you take the little rubber, that's a little cap on there, and it has a blade, and on your cutting mat, it swivels with that blade, and you hold it like a pen. I absolutely love it. It's a great investment, wasn't too terribly expensive, so you can pick that up at probably at a craft store somewhere, or wherever you order your tools from. So I fussy cut this out. I also loosely fussy cut out Dorothy and Toto, which I have, with that gyro tool, cut this flower so that I could put Toto, if I want his tail sticking out, into the flower. So when I was moving stuff around, it kind of got moved. There we go. Anyway, it will stick down in that flower like that, so that it's like he's in among the flowers. So see, I can cut along that shape with that blade. So I have her. I could fussy cut in more detail, but I don't think it's necessary. Just makes it harder for you. And I also got these poppies. These are the blue. Now Dorothy and Toto are out of the blue gingham. So we have full sheets of those. Then I pulled out a couple of scraps. It doesn't matter about the size. They're just going to tuck underneath of the yellow brick road. And then I fussy cut out, followed the yellow brick road, inked it, matted it to a scrap of the red glitter, and then added these Spellbinders Fashion Poppy color pearls. And then on the back, because I know I'm going to want this lifted, I have so far added 3 layers, and they don't have to be perfect size. I just chop them out of lightweight chipboard to give me a little bit of thickness. I might need more, so I've got that for the front. For the back, I'm going to put this one on, and this is a cut apart. I fussy cut it out, inked it, and then put it on the red glitter. Also, now I'm not going to lift this when this goes on the back. I want to keep it flat. And then I cut off from my ribbon, my 2 yards of ribbon, I cut out 2 pieces of a piece of blue and a piece of yellow, and they're about 45 inches each. And I am going to add a closure tie. So to do that, I'm going to lay these together. I did dovetail. This one's a little bit off here. I'm going to fix this dovetail like that. And then this one, usually tie them in knots, but I'm going to try this. Okay, so we have that. Put these together. I'm going to lay this out centered, and I'm going to leave enough about like that to tie with. So I'm going to take some seam binding, some score tape, and I'm going to put it on the front here for the whole length, pretty much, because it's going to be underneath stuff. So I'm going to put it right here along this. Tear that off. Sometimes I also use glue on my ribbon. These will be glued down. I'm going to put the blue one on first. So I'm going to look at it and get the length of the tail that I want. I'm going to lay it on the back. Don't want to make it too short on the back either, so I want to make them even. A little more here. Okay. So that should be about right. I'll take this off. Oops, didn't stick. Got to make sure it sticks down. There we go. Okay. That's where I want it. I'm going to lay that over that score tape. Press it on. This is to hold it in place. And then I'm going to take some more and center it for the yellow. And make sure I not leave that long enough. I think it'll work. Okay. Lay this one with this one. And get them matching up in length and everything. And now I'm going to stick this one down here. Now all my fussy cutting will be done out there. So now I'm not attaching on the back. I'm going to bring it around, on the spine. I'll bring it around. Flip it over. Like this. Okay. So that stays there. And I'm going to put just tape in the center where I want this. So it's going to lay like that. Okay, take some more tape. Not a real big piece, so about the width of this. A little less. And then I'll put it down. That's going to lay right there. Pull that off. Attach down the blue. Pull it tight. Attach down the blue. More tape on top of the blue. About the same size. And then the yellow over it. Try to make everybody cooperate here. Lay straight. That one's not tight enough. Gotta come a little tighter. Okay. Let's see. Did not get it tight enough. Maybe if I stand it up, I can get my yellow one in tight enough. Blue one too. Okay, so now I'm going to bring them around and tie them in a bow and see how that looks. Thinking this one needs to be moved up a little bit, this way. Okay. Okay, so that'll work. I'll be making it prettier when I actually do it. So I wanted to make sure all of this is pulled where I want it. This one's not cooperating, guys. It's a great idea when it works. This one here is kind of pulling. Okay, so this piece is going to go over that. It's okay if it's a little loose there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one on, and I put a lot of glue on the whole piece, because this is what's really going to hold that ribbon in place. So right there in the middle where the ribbon goes, I'm going to make sure we get that glued. Make sure this is not upside down. And I'm going to center this over it like that. So that's going to be my holder, but it's gluing the whole thing down on the back. So burnish that like that. So that's how it looks on the back. So I can kind of move this a little bit here to kind of center that ribbon a little bit more. There we go. Like that. Okay, like that, like that. So this comes around. Now this is the one that's going to have to stay fixed, because that's where I'm going to be gluing all my fussy cut pieces. So let's start with the guys, and they're going to go here to the edge to the top, and they're going flat down, except under here. I might put the brick road under there, so I'm not going to put any glue on the feet right in here until I'm done. So above the feet line, and then I put glue on all the rest of it, and I did ink around the edges of the image. Okay, stand up so I can get this going good. Shoulder there and hat up there, kind of get them straight. And you know, I'm going to lift this up on the side. I'm not going to burnish that on the side because I may want some poppy flowers in there. So we'll get this part here done over that ribbon. Okay, and the legs here. Okay, so that's where we're good there. So this poppy, I think it's going to kind of go like this. Let's get the brick road in there. So I'm going to kind of cut my brick a little weavy, maybe. Let's ink that some. That's going to go up underneath. Okay, going to commit to it, put it down. I think I did it upside down, but it's not really going to show that much. To the inside of the black. Okay, right there, like that. The other brick piece. Kind of follow along the brick line here. Just in case some of that shows, so we'll ink that. It's going to go like this. It's got a seam here, but that's going to be hidden with that saying, or Dorothy's feet or something. And line that up to the black. Okay. Now then, Dorothy and Toto and these. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up. Put some glue right in here to hold her in place. And Toto. So now he is behind that one flower. She's here in the front. Yes, it covers up some of your flowers, but that's okay. That's, when you're layering, you're going to do that. Because we want to make it to look as real as we can. Now this is going to be kind of lifted up with one layer of thin, lightweight chipboard. So I'm going to turn this over. Here's my chipboard, and this is how I do it. On a pretty good sized piece in the middle. Support right in here. So I cut it so that it fits and doesn't stick out, and glue that down. We're just going to do pieces of it to get the lift we want. Yes, you could use foam squares or foam tape, but I have a lot of these scraps left, and I don't have to worry about the glue coming loose of the foam tape. I have had that happen. I live in Texas where it's humid and it can get very, very hot, and as long as my project's inside the air conditioning, it's fine. But there have been times when our air conditioning has quit and had to be repaired or replaced, and depending on the time of the year, parts and new units are in high demand and can take. One year it happened in July, and the warehouse was having a inventory in July. I'm like, inventory in July in Texas for an air conditioning unit place? That's just crazy, right? And I had to wait 2 weeks. So that's how I know that foam tape and glue dots and things and score tape can come loose. Glue does not. Glue survived, but I had to put a lot of things back together, So I learned that. So now I'm just going to cut pieces to fit where I need it. Make sure it's not sticking out. If it is, I just flip it over where I can see that little bit of chipboard. I just snip it off. Okay. Small pieces here and there. Plus, with the chipboard, it doesn't gum up my scissors, and I can cut it to fit in different shapes and places. It doesn't have to be completely solid, but you got to have enough to hold things up where they need to be. Like that. Oop. Didn't stick. Stuck to my fingers. There we go. Okay. A little more here and there. Some of these flowers. We'll have to trim that one some. So this will be a single layer of chipboard, just lifting it up. I don't think I'll need more, hopefully not. So I'm gonna turn it over and see if I need where all I need to trim some. What do I need trimmed? I need a small piece here. And then, of course, that's where I'm going to be putting the glue. Use it on the back of the chipboard. I have to trim that one. And I think I want a little bit there. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over and look to see where I have chipboard that's showing, like right here, a little bit there, a little bit up here. Check it good. Make sure before you glue anything down that everything's been trimmed. Okay, so now we bring this back in. And this flower here, and I think I really wanted it up higher. It's going to kind of go like that. I like that one right there. This one I think I need to make a little not so straight edged. That's okay, let's look at it again. So it's going to kind of go like this. So she's walking towards them. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this poppy down. And these. Okay. Okay, so let's put glue on just the chipboard sections. Got to work pretty fast. You don't want your glue to dry. Whoop. Okay, flip it over. See, from the top, I want her kind of in the middle like that, between those two. I don't want to cover up anybody's face. So drop that down, press those down, so it just gives it a little bit of dimension. Not a whole bunch, but just a little lift. like that. Okay, and then this saying was going to go right there on the corner, and I think I still will, unless I want it here. I kind of like it there too. And then that covers up some of the ribbon so that it can has a way of staying. So the glue on this, same thing, just goes on that chipboard, not on the decorative piece, just on the one chipboard that's still sticking up. And then that's going to go about right there. Let me see if it's straight the way I want it. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think that's really pretty. So do I want to add some gemstones on each corner? Perhaps that would be pretty. I had one poppy left, but I don't think I've got anywhere I want it to go. It didn't look right. Okay. There's that one. I really love how that looks. There's a whole scene right there on the front of the book. So let's put some gemstones here. Maybe I want 3. These are so pretty with this collection. Okay. So there's that. I like that really well. I think that's so pretty. Now, you could take what they call, glossy accents if you have that, or if you have stickles or something. I did color her shoes with the Olo marker, so I made them red. I forgot to tell you that. So you could put some glitter on there. I don't have any handy, and I don't want to put any of that loose glitter on this cover. So I like the cover. I think I'm going to call it done. Flip this over. There's the back. And now I'm ready to keep doing some decorating inside and finish this album up. I'll do a quick little show here at the end of what I did, but the details will be in the walkthrough, which will probably be a separate video of the walkthrough that you can check out. So I'm going to keep working on it and finish this album up.
Okay, so we finished decorating this. Of course, we did the cover together in the tutorial, so I finished decorating on the inside. It got a little bit chunky with all the tags, extra flaps I added, but I'm fine with that. Got the tie closure here, so we take that off. And I'm just going to show you real quick because I'll do a separate walkthrough video for this. So I did add a lot of extra tags. Here I added a strip of the red glitter paper, one of the cut aparts, and the little gems. So you can add your cut aparts wherever you want, your little tags and what have you. So this is one of the tags we had. I added the green, punched the little circle with some scrap of the paper and added some twine and ribbon, just a plain. These I will not give the sizes. There's different ones where I went through my scraps and just rounded the corners, didn't even change the sizes of them, and tucked them in different places in the album. So this is the booklet. I'm going to leave it, no, this is a tag, photo mat. So I did add paper, the glitter here. I attached this scene here, and then I colored with my Copic, well, not my Copic, but my Olo markers that I got from Country Craft Creations. I used the red color, and did that so you could add a photo back there. This is the booklet. Colored the shoes. Nothing else has been done. I'm going to just leave it plain, kind of wipe off some of my paper bits, but anyway, those are in that front pocket. Here to decorate this one, again, on all the black and white where there's shoes, I did color them red because I just wanted that red like in the movie. I used the red glitter here. Originally I didn't have that, so I took my little lifting tool and lifted this up and added the red there, and then I put patterned paper here on the back, and then I added a tuck spot here with this photo mat. So this is just cut apart. Again, I colored the shoes red, and then this opens up. We've got a photo mat stuck in this cut apart. Just glue them on the bottom or on the side, wherever you want to attach, and then leave them open so that you can add your photo mats and things like that. So that closes like that with a magnet. This side, I added in these photo mats. This one's on the green on black. These are just regular photo mats. Both sides are the same. Open it up so you'll see the coloring again. And then here in this, on this pocket, on both of these, I put a strip of the red glitter, about a, what is that, 3/4 of an inch, and then a cut apart. Now I left them loose so that if you wanted to add something in, like a small tag, you could. I haven't added anything like that. So this is a booklet here pieced together. Large photo mat from the scrap. These are the photo mats that were the 6x8. So I added a cut apart here, a little gem, and we've got, I just kind of tuck it in there. So these can be just moved around wherever you want to put them, different places in your album. Over here, so this is Scarecrow. This is the three of them together. There's Dorothy. This one here has the oil can. It's just a tag. I added this. Leave them open underneath. This is the little tag here. This was a scrap of the paper, so I just rounded the corners. I thought that looked cute like that. And this one's the same way as the other one. Okay, so just slip all those in, however you want to stick them in to your book, and then close this all up, and then flip back to here. So on this page, I used, I matted these cut aparts to the red glitter and glued them so that they could be used as tuck spots. So this is a mat that's attached down, so you could put your picture underneath. This is a booklet I made out of some scraps. I just folded it. This is a neat way to do add a ribbon and tie. I just took my hole punch, punched 2 holes with about 1/8 of an inch in between them, or 1/4 of an inch, and thread your ribbon through, and then tie it on the front where it's got the patterned paper. And then that just tucks in there. This opens up here this way. I didn't do anything different on this. I did mat this to the red and then black, and I have the magnets, 2 magnets in here, one on each corner, 2 opposite each other's, and then this I just left plain for the picture. So that holds that. Here let's see, I lifted this up and added the glitter because I didn't do that. This is fussy cut. I added fussy cut from the Poppy and Yellow Brick Road, just kind of different sections of flowers here. I added this twine bow in this pearl. Here is Toto, like I did the others, where you can put the photo underneath and the pearl there. And then I added this piece here that matches the back, and I did all that. So you can, your photo would just slide in there. You could do, you know, whatever. I love this page. I think this is my favorite. Flip this back. I matted the cut apart to the glitter paper, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And then inside this pocket, I just have the cut apart, a green photo mat out of a scrap. And here's some of those little tags in here, extra cut aparts. I made a little pocket out of this tag. This was just a 6" by, what is it, about 3. Angled the corners, rounded the bottom, circle punch, tied everything in together, and added the pearl. And then this one's done like the others, except I used the glitter on the front. It's got the flying monkey. And there's the castle of the Emerald City. So all of this just kind of tucks together. Oh, and this is like from the album, not the album, from the branding sheet that comes with the collection, as well as this. and this. So remember I told you you can make tags out of some of those little pieces on there, so that's where those come from. So I thought I better tell you that. Okay, over here is just, this is the 6x8 attached down. I added this cut apart, and then 2 of the mats like that. The monkey flying monkeys is like this. Now this is where I cut punch circles with a 1-inch punch of the glitter paper, and then with a 3/4 inch punch the little images off the branding sheet. So I've got the witch and one of the flying monkeys. This opens up. I put Glinda over here. I put wand up here, and then these tags in here, I did the same thing that I did on the front. 1-inch glitter paper here and one on the back, and then circle punch 3/4 inch the little tin can, the oil can, and then her shoes, Dorothy's shoes, and I did color them red. So those just slide in there, and this flips down. And this, well, probably what makes this and this element in here is what makes the album thicker. So if you don't want the album as thick, you might want to leave those out. For this one, I took, let me measure that. I thought I remember, but yeah, 2.5 inch square, 2.5 inch squares, angle cut them, and then 1-inch circle punched right here to get this look. They're not open. I just glued down. They're decorative. And then I did cut the glittered paper to fit this, and then I used a die. That would be a metal die, about a 3.5 inch die, and just glued this on top so it looks like a frame's been cut. And then of course this pops up, and all of these we did add the glitter paper. And then up here I'm added There's No Place Like Home to the glitter paper, and put that in the sky up there at the top. So that's our pop-up. There's our magnet that we did in the tutorial. And then the last page back here, I matted to red, and I did not have, I wanted to make sure that I kept this intact, but there was a little bit of the scarecrow's head, I think, showing here. So I folded this back, and you can see all the red. So I matted the red to the black, and then the pattern onto that. And this is the yellow onto black, and then just a green one, extra one I had. And this is a booklet here for photos, and I put that on the front. Here I covered that notch with this cut apart, and then I made this paper clip with a poppy that I fussy cut out, piece of the stripe on the back. You know, it's double layered. Tied a bit of the yellow on there, and then the twine and a pearl. And so this one slips in, and to keep it from kind of moving around a lot, I'll just take this paper clip and stick it in there and hold it. And then in the back side, I put the red glitter here. I added this cut apart with the pearls. We got the photo mat with the black stripe. We've got a cut apart here from the collection. Here's another booklet with a ribbon tied at the top, just a scrap of the paper. It doesn't matter what size. And then the waterfalls I left the way we did them, where you can do your 4x6 photos. And then these are just extra scraps of paper that I rounded the corners and made photo mats so that you can use them wherever you want, or just keep them in the pocket. And that is this album. I had a lot of fun with this. I hope you enjoy it. Remember, this is a pre-made album by Uniquely Creative, and right now as I film this, it is out of stock at Country Craft Creations. It's still on the website. It says page not found. That just means that more will be coming, so you just have to keep checking back. Or you could actually make your own 8x10 album using the lay flat method, and do your pages similar to this, the decorating of it all, and make your own. So, and thank you so much for following along. There'll be a separate walkthrough, as I said, for this. Please be sure, if you want to see more of my videos for crafting tips and project tutorials, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to my channel, and click the bell, and then give me a thumbs up and share my video, and then we'll get crafty together. And always remember to shop at countrycraftcreations.com. Thanks you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.